Ukrainian forces are officially halfway to the Kursk nuclear power plant. And is it causing Russia to freak out? Let's talk about how Russia's rolling out the cope and how Ukraine can keep the momentum going. I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. Let's talk about it. Okay, so I want to point out that according to the deep state map, the total net distance to the Kurchatov nuclear power plant is about 60 kilometers. And when we go over to the live UA map, you can see that Ukrainian armed forces at their sort of peak here are fighting near Kayuk. And we can do a little bit of math here if you'll join me. And Kayuk is actually located right here. And so you can see that the Kayuk area is really kind of the apex of the fighting, but you notice that again, live UA is showing Ukrainian forces literally starting to encircle the town. So if we use this here as kind of the apex, you can see that Ukrainian forces are just about, if they capture Kayuk, they're going to be at the halfway mark to the Kurchatov nuclear power plant. Now, obviously, guys, there's some routing that's going to make this a little more complicated. It looks, and again, live UA tends to have better mapping or better road maps, but you can kind of see that Ukrainian forces are trying to sort of run this canal along this roadway here, and they're likely going to try to continue to run this all the way likely to this town of Lvov, and then kind of use I suspect a Russian type of strategy in order to sort of peel off, right, very close layer by layer of these urban areas and get to the Kurchatov, town of Kurchatov and the nuclear power plant, right? So you can see how it's actually pretty doable, pretty feasible, especially given the fact that, again, you're looking at this and you can best think of this line here as kind of the end game, right? What's going to be crucial is if they can get to Lvov and hold it, even just to the outskirts, in all likelihood, Kurchatov is going to be subject to Ukrainian indirect fire. Now, obviously, I don't think the Ukrainians would actually fire on the power plant, but the key aspect of it would be that it would effectively make the plant able to be held hostage, so to speak. And that is a key negotiating tactic because, again, Ukraine wants its own Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant back. So being able to have this key piece of infrastructure, at least with a proverbial gun to its head, will strengthen the negotiating position of Ukraine. Now, Russia is kind of having a freak out about this. I don't know how else to put it. We're going to talk about how and why. But before we do, of course, if you are looking to enhance your own capacity to get anything done, not just to seize your enemy's key infrastructure, you may need a little bit of caffeine, right? Strike Gum is your secret weapon in the fight against fatigue and getting shit done, right? It's got 90 milligrams of caffeine in every single piece. That's as much as an Amp Energy, as much as a Red Bull. Plus, it has 100 milligrams of alpha GPC for further cognitive enhancement. Best of all, no sugar, so there's no sugar crash. It's just pure energy. And it's made in the USA, obviously veteran owned, so check it out at strikegum.com. You guys want to order the 5-pack? 5-pack is going to be the way to go. It's got a pack for your house, pack for your office, gym bag, glove box, and one spare so you can give it to a friend and tell them about the premier energy drink alternative. So thanks again to everybody that's purchased strikegum.com. Link is in the description. Okay, so first off, there's some interesting signs appearing in graffiti at the Kursk nuclear power plant along the fence. That little triangle is the symbol of Ukrainian troops who have entered into Kursk. So a really, really interesting little addition. And it's a sign, again, that the Ukrainians want to send a message that their people are kind of everywhere. And it's likely true, right? We know that there are some partisans operating inside Russia, whether they are Ukrainian loyalists who reside on the other side of the border, or Ukrainian intelligence officials who crossed preceding the invasion. Russia's got to know that its people are around. And the fact that they can draw a little target here is sending a message to Russia. It's meant to confuse them. It's meant to have them divert resources towards the power plant. It's meant to make them ask questions like, is this power plant under threat? Right? And so in response, of course, the Russians holding a prayer service. That's right, an Orthodox prayer service praying for the protection of the nuclear power plant. While an option, it is maybe not the most effective thing. I don't know what else to tell you. They should consider options like actually pulling troops off of the front line of Donetsk to protect it. Again, this sort of behavior is exactly what I would expect from the Kremlin, actually. Right? Replacing real tactical solutions, really setting meaningful priorities, replacing that with symbolic nonsense. And trust me, I get it, right? I get these militaries. They often have these desires to symbolically do things instead of practically doing them. And this is just classic. We know that Russia has continued to push in the Donetsk region in lieu of, again, pulling troops out and reinforcing the situation in Kursk. And it's pretty embarrassing for the Russian public, for the Russian government. You can see here, right, yesterday, again, marginal advances, marginal even by Russian standards, but this little windbreak near Horodivka, and a small little partial advance. Unbelievably small, actually, just a building, one little building here in Novohodrivka. So this is what the Russians are prioritizing in their defense, and again, or rather lack of defense of the whole Kursk region. And you can see again, the Russians are like, oh, we're making progress, but to what and to what end? And is whatever you're progressing towards more important than, again, defending your own nuclear power plant, your own key infrastructure? But again, the Kremlin's ability to set priorities always sort of on the low end. Anyway, guys, that's all I had. Huge thank you to our Colonel tier members, Martin Baum, Chris Rossi, Stuart Abel, Daniel Brown, Sergei Zinchenko, Chris Holmes, and Chris Gorsuch, as well as all of our Lieutenant tier members. I could not do this without you guys. You really are the ones who make it all possible, and I will see you all in the next one. Cheers.